Bradley Manning has been sentenced to 35 years in a military prison, and he's been given a dishonourable discharge, which effectively means he's been kicked out of the US military as well. Now, 35 years sentence, but 3.5 years will come off that because he's already served 3.5 years since he was detained, and another 112 days will also come off that, and that's because the judge ruled in January this year that he should have a sentence reduced by 112 days because the sum of the time he was kept in solitary confinement, which the judge ruled was harsh and illegal.
He had admitted to a lot of charges. Just explain for people watching this, Regina, who think that that is a very long sentence. There will be people who would have liked it to be even longer.
That's right. Let's just remind our viewers of what exactly he was convicted of. He was convicted of 20 counts, including espionage, computer fraud and theft, should I say. And that was all relating to his leaking of some 700,000 government classified documents, including videos and State Department cables, to the Wikileaks website. Now, he admitted he'd shared this information at the time, but denied that he did it to help America's enemies. And he was acquitted of the most serious charge he faced of aiding America's enemies. But even with all the charges that he was convicted on, he was likely to get a sentence of at least around 25 years. So I think some people will be looking at this sentence and saying it's relatively low, given that the prosecution were asking for a minimum of 60 years, plus a fine for Bradley Manning. It's not clear whether or not at the moment he still will have to pay a fine. So some people will be saying this is actually a much lower sentence than they had expected.
And this is a military court, as we say, Regina, a military process. What are Bradley Manning's legal options now?
Well, given that he got a dishonourable discharge, his case will automatically go to appeal. And I should also say that it is a matter of course with a court-martial like this, where there's a single judge sitting, that the verdict and the sentence will also be reviewed. But after that appeal, which will automatically come in, he then has the option of appealing this sentence to the US military's highest court. And then if that doesn't work, he can even go to the US Supreme Court. I suppose the underlying theme there is he can still appeal the sentence for quite some time. But it is worth noting that during these sentencing hearings, where we heard from the prosecution and the defence making their case about how long the sentence should be, the defence said all along that they wanted him to have a sentence of no more than 25 years, because Bradley Manning himself is only 25, and they didn't want him to be robbed of his youth. They said that he himself was here at the court-martial last week, and Bradley Manning said sorry for leaking all that information. He said he was sorry for the unintended consequences. But the prosecution have long argued that he should have had a longer sentence because of the damage they say that these leaks did to national security. They said that some of the leaks compromised people who had been working with the US in countries. They also damaged relations that the US had with allies, and also, as I said, really compromised national security. And throughout these sentencing hearings, the prosecution had long pushed for a longer sentence as a deterrent so that other members of the US military didn't leak such information. So I think they will be disappointed that the sentence is relatively low, given that they were asking for a minimum of 60 years, because they wanted it to act as a deterrent.